Hilarious. Are we good? Everybody good?
Yeah, we good.
All right, we go ahead and jump in.
Yeah,
Go
let's
ahead.
ride. Let's ride.
In five, four, three, two, one. What's going on, people? This is No Labels Podcast. I am your host, Willie G. We got Miss Audrey in the building.
Hey, y'all.
We got the Queen in the building.
Got the
Miss
queen and
Keandra.
producer and her pimp ish.
What's going on? Hey.
Let's start off with a big happy birthday.
Okay, yeah. Happy birthday. I go
It's her
ahead.
birthday tomorrow, but to Keandra, the
Hey.
queen, our producer extraordinaire.
Happy birthday, baby. A Jesus year.
This year for Miss Keandra
Yo.
Harris.
We lit. 2024. How everybody doing?
Listen, I can already tell she about to get us in shape for 2024, and I'm here for it.
2024. How y'all doing? We jumping out the gate. We podding today, man. Look,
podding today.
We gonna do our job today
Oh,
as media. How y'all doing? Y'all good?
I'm good.
New Year 2024.
Listen,
How y'all feeling?
I feel like I got fully reset in December, and I'm still trying to catch up, but it's all good.
Okay.
Had a lot of behind the scenes things that had to be restructured and reorganized, to everything from social media to financial to just greater organization. And if some stuff had to fall apart to get better structure for where I'm going, I say to God be the glory.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, what kind of year was 2023 for you? Then I'll tell you what kind of year was 2023 for
It
you?
was very transitional.
Transitional.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that.
But uh, it was again a lot of reset. So so December, that reset was another reset in a series that have been happening for several months. A transition, but also kind of a level up. Especially right at mid year, I switched job roles, but switched companies, and I've done that before. But this one was definitely an elevation in a lot of ways, and everything in my career up until that point prepared me for it. And so to see that, to see all things work together in that arena has been encouraging my faith. I've seen greater financial organization, which has been the stepping stone to greater financial prosperity. Milo came to live with me in June. He over there chilling with Keandra now. So me and my dog Milo, Snowman. Um,
So you said greater financial. You know what I'm saying? So you basically talk about the bag, huh?
a little bit, yeah.
The bag. Okay, we gonna yeah.
Yeah.
Can't bypass that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it was
Tra-
a big career move that still made a lot of sense. I've started to lean into, again, like I posted online, that last Q4. And if you work in retail, we're still in Q4 because our fiscal year doesn't start till February. So it's been a doozy, and somewhere in that I was like, I started my executive education. I got a certificate, completed a certificate program from Cornell University,
Okay.
diversity, equity, inclusion.
That's a lot.
Um,
For that.
yeah,
Hand claps. Hand claps.
I've been I really focus on two clients and really trying to streamline in what I really want to do through Royal Inc. And one thing I said at the beginning of the year, I said I've been in a place where I can kind of take the clients I want to take, that align with the vision I have for myself and the vision I want to how I see other people fitting in, how I want to help them with certain things through the gifts that God has given me. And so it's helping to, I'm telling you, having vision and being clear on it informs your decision making in such a way that makes your path make sense.
Okay.
And so I've been kind of living through that, and
So we got so transition, huh?
yeah.
A lot of transition. I think
Transition, but like forward movement, and even too, like I was describing, offline, some different financial setbacks that would have devastated me just a few years ago. Um, and I was like, it was an obstacle, it was a hurdle. But I wouldn't even call it a setback because it didn't stop any of my forward movement. So I'm just really grateful to
can't
God
talk your toe. You know what I'm
for
saying?
wisdom,
Yeah.
wisdom and structure, and leaned into, I have plant life in my house, so I have a interesting view on the effect of seasons and timings and things like that. I celebrated first year magazine.
Okay.
in my anniversary edition.
1 year anniversary. Good. Got applause on that.
Been brainstorming a second book. I started kind of really documenting that just a couple of weeks ago, but it's on my mind. It's been on my mind to do for a long time, and it's still a sequence in the Rules of Royalty series, So I can see that growing into several volumes, and so I feel like if I had to kind of put an overarching theme on it, God has proven to me in this year, and it really feels like a beginning of something, like a transition to like another stage of life. Um, but it's been so evident that all things really do work together when you make purpose a focus, when you are living in the purpose that He created you for, things that you forgot about, things that only make sense to you. Like this would have been valuable to anybody, it wouldn't have worked for anybody else, but this particular thing and all the things work together, and to see that culminate in such a great way to almost like introduce me to a new level is it's been beautiful to watch. I feel like a student all over again in some areas, but also it's even too. It's like I said in the post when I was kind of sharing with certain things. I was like starting over, but starting from experience, and so it doesn't feel nothing about it feels backwards. Nothing, you know. So yeah, I'm just really grateful as I reflect.
It's a good year.
Hmm.
I would say, last year I would say definitely transitional. A lot of solitude. Not willing solitude, but forceful solitude. And I think that was I think that was purposefully. I think God had to kind of get. It was transitional because it was. I wouldn't say. I would say preparational. I'm not gonna say transition.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm gonna say preparational because dude, I didn't realize until we got to the end of the year that half of the year was me and my family and my sister. Catering to my mom. She went through, some difficulties that I ain't gonna talk about online, but it took away half of the year, and we didn't realize it because when you I guess when you're in the moment, you don't
Yeah.
really realize it. But half of 2023 was that, and that actually brought me and my sister together in a way that we haven't because our age difference is so crazy that we don't get to chop it as much as we would like to, but when mom needed us, me and her, it was a lot of that. It was solitude because all I could do at the time was do that and be with my family and work. So a lot of time by myself, a lot of time by myself, a lot of time with family, and a lot of time to reflect. A lot of time, like I said, I think God put me in there. Well, I know He did because nothing happens. You know what I'm saying? I'm like nothing happens. Like that situation forced me to like kind of slow down a little bit and just really really like focus in on what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? You think a lot in certain situations. Like
Yeah.
certain situations kind of make you contemplate. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like when you go to a funeral and everybody want to get their life right. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that. It ain't funeral deep, but it was deep.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like you know how something crazy happened and it make like we need
It's like a perspective shift.
yeah, perspective shift. That's a good way to put it. So I ain't gonna go too deep in it, but I don't do what is Milo? What? Yo, Milo, that's a married woman. You know what I'm saying? But
Milo,
I don't do.
he
I,
must smell good. I don't know. He's
Milo
full
lit.
of love and cuddles
Milo
right
lit.
now.
Listen, this dog. Listen, Milo is lit over here. Hey, uh, I I don't do personally like New Year's resolutions.
Yeah,
I don't know if
either.
y'all do, but I
I got one goal this
but
year.
but I
What's your goal?
what's your goal?
Just to be organized. That's it. That's
Yeah.
something that I struggle with. I'm a scatterbrain, but I want to be organized. That's it. That's gonna help my business life, my family life. I can organize my chaos. I get it. Everybody
I'm
else
the
my chaos.
I'm the same way, and so I
And I
am.
want to be able you be able to walk in like, okay, I know what's going on
Yes,
here.
I'm working. I'm working on
For
that
my
too.
audience. I want my organization to be that my audience can understand it. Like my family,
Yes.
like, Kim, what's going on? I know what's going on.
Exactly.
Y'all know what's going on.
I've always been like, I want that too. Especially as I've said so many times in the past few months, especially with the magazine, especially with that last issue, I'm like, I really need an assistant. But until I get organized with what I need an assistant to do, like, it takes a minute, you know. It takes a minute to kind of build that relationship because I've had really good assistants before, but there is a level of organization
Yeah.
that it's some of it is like understanding my chaos,
Yeah, right.
which is great. But even there, like, how could I organize it in a way they could come in and pick up and understand, without Milo, chill out. Come here. Come here.
Yeah, all right. Yeah,
He's being lit.
it ain't
Oh,
the first
anyway, I'm
time.
sorry, but yeah. So that organization, I do. If I don't do resolutions either.
Yeah.
Like I was saying too, because I worked in retail, so I'm really kind of built into that calendar. And then my birthday's at the beginning of February, so I don't really start my new year till February. But that's also in the retail world, that's the fiscal new year. So, that in itself, interestingly, it can look like you're behind, but in a way, it can weirdly put you ahead of some things by being that month behind the calendar. Um, but I do spend a lot of time in December thinking, and I spend the whole month of January reflecting, organizing, and planning for what I consider my new year in February. So I'm in that, and I just really listen to God. And usually, like when people are like, "Oh, this is my word," I usually don't just have one on my own. And spending time with God, He usually tells me what He wants to do.
Yeah.
And so there may be a word that keeps coming up. Then I go study that. I'm like, well, apparently God wants me to have this. I don't just kind of pick it out of my brain. Now, one thing I do want to recommit to is my personal fitness and health, because I was on a really good track. Shout out to my trainer Darren. I had to just kind of suspend that with the new job when that switched over, because it didn't work with the retail scheduling. That was my big thing. Picking a trainer is like, you got to be flexible with his life. It has to work for the way I move, and we have fallen into a thing. I love the results I was getting, but with that job shift, I haven't been able to pick that back up, and I definitely feel the difference. And so, part of the vision of where I believe God is taking me, I need to be physically healthy and fit to sustain it at the level I believe He has it for me.
Willie said I gotta stay consistent with my gym membership, my gym regimen, because where I'm going, I have to be mentally and physically ready for it.
Yes.
So yeah, I get that.
Yeah, and so
Really love the gym. Like it's
I do understand that you can build a love for it, but it's like one of those things. It's like, once the hardest part is starting.
right.
Once you get in it, once I'm in it, I'm good. But then once you pause for too long, that startup, and then for me, it's finding what will work for my lifestyle. It's the stuff I do at home, and I can, and I do, but it's different when you go to the gym. And I loved it because I didn't have to think about it. All I had to do was show up. It's just like, if you can just commit to showing up. Once I get there, I'll go as hard as I can, and even like a crap workout is better than no workout. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
results is anything you do repetitively.
right, and so I do. I have found a lot of benefit in going away and having somebody tell me what to do, and but even too, especially when you are in a leadership position in other parts of life, it helps to come out of that and come under something else, and the mental break that it would give me. I don't have to sit here and, like, if I'm at home, I have to think about, okay, what am I gonna do? What workout am I gonna? I just go and show up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I pay you to think about it for me, and you know what I'm saying. I miss that part.
Yeah, that's good.
And so I do want to. That is something, as far as like I'm recommitting to.
Trying to get back in the gym.
Yeah.
For me,
Whether it's in the gym, whether it's roller skating, running, it's something.
Some kind of personal fitness.
Yeah, I need to recommit to fitness.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's always good to keep the body moving. Me personally, I don't like. I need the gym. Like, I like the way my mind work, the way my ADD work. Like, if I don't work out, it's like, I don't. Cause I'm gonna be honest. Like, the hardest thing to do is to go to the gym after work. That is the hardest thing to do. Walk in my house and walk back out.
Ooh, yeah.
Listen,
I felt that.
after a long day of work, though, it don't get no easier. I can promise you.
There's people like, you gonna go to lunch? I said, if I leave this building, I'm not coming back. So I'm gonna have to.
To walk in your house,
Come to me.
at the end of the shift and walk back out. Oh, that's hard. Listen, but I mean,
Say, y'all, it's
gotta-
a struggle.
you got to keep it. But
Struggle.
yeah, but one thing about the body is that it's true. What you don't use, you lose. You're not gonna lose an arm, but like, if you don't, like, over a period of time, like, certain muscles, if they're not active, they become weaker.
Yeah.
So it's good.
It's a real thing.
Like, even walking is so beneficial. Just regular, normal pace walking.
It
It's
is
beneficial.
And I want just flexibility back, just to stretch. I went and got an assisted stretch done. I was like, oh my.
What's y'all word for the year? Like I do words. I don't like my word. My word for 2024 is gratitude. You know what I'm saying? I think gratitude unlock is. I think gratitude is like a superpower.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Cause like to really sit back and really like yes ask God for more, but thank God for what you got. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? It really help a lot, especially when you out when you trying to go get it, you trying to build, you trying to do this, you trying to set yourself up for later on in life. But sometimes you got to stop. You know what I'm saying? And just thank God for where you got and how far you done came. So I think gratitude is my word for 2024. Y'all got a word or y'all ain't got no word?
I don't have one yet. It might come to me again January. I really reflect. So there's nothing.
I'm back to my goal. I just want to be organized.
And I would say even the word that God gave me around this time last year or December of 2022, it was really more. He kept saying things about alignment and wanting to align me, and so I'm still like, is he still aligning me? Because
Yeah.
he like it. One thing I've learned to lean into and trust is if I'm seeking God for something and he's giving me an answer and I go back again with the same question and he doesn't say anything, then his what he said is still working.
Right.
What he said is still good.
Right.
So if he hasn't given me anything other than alignment, then we still in alignment.
Right.
We're still working on that. But I remember when I said in my book I would go and pray these different things and the answer wouldn't change. It's like if in that learning kind of in that relationship, what does the silence of God mean in certain seasons? Is in certain things, especially when it comes to like, well, God, what do you want? What do you want? It's just like the same thing I said last time. I hadn't changed. And so sometimes that silence is, I said what I said,
Right.
and it's still good, So,
Sure, sir.
yeah.
The
And
silence
so,
of God is hard to deal with sometimes.
what's up, fam? Got David Lewis on the line on Instagram.
David, what's up,
Always
family?
a fam. Day one fam.
What's up,
Happy
family?
2024 to you and the family. Yep. So I guess God still got me in another.
Silence of God is hard to deal with. We gonna. I mean, it's not always, but it's been times where the silence, like you said, where you pray and you don't hear nothing. You like, you know what I'm saying? You don't get no confirmation or no nothing. Like Lord, you give me, you know what I'm saying? Like Lord, give me a little hint.
I will say,
Give me a little hint of something.
I feel this is my experience. If you are kind of early, love you too, David, early in building that one-on-one relationship with God, the silence can get uncomfortable. But the more time you spend with Him and get to know Him, I have found that you do learn to trust it in a different way. And the way I could describe it is, when you're like in a close relationship with someone, whether it's a boyfriend or girlfriend, a husband or wife, whether it's your mom or a friend, and you can sit in silence and still be like, we had a great time.
Yeah.
It to me, the silence of God is more of an intimacy and just enjoying the presence because he's been so faithful
Yeah.
in so many things, and I have enough track record where when the silence will bother me and I've come out of it, it's just like, oh, and in hindsight, I understood the silence better. And because I understand it because I've been through silent seasons with him before, I trust it going into them now versus like, wow, that was rough, but I see on the back end. Now I go in with greater trust on the front of a silent season with God.
I literally-
So that's
No, I agree
it's
with
just
that.
like relationship with God. It's a forever levels and newness, and it's amazing.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Matter of fact, I just posted a clip with me and Darius. I relate that to a marriage, to trust, and because I relate, because I was like doubt is disrespectful in a sense, and I used the example of a husband and a wife. I heard Carlos Miller actually said
Shout
something
out to
similar.
Carlos Miller. I love him. I have an active crush on him.
He
Sorry.
said
active.
he said something
active
similar
crush.
to it. and
Carlos Miller, what's good?
It was like just like you were saying, the silence. It's a trust thing. It was like faith is trust in the character of God. Faith is trust in who God is. So it's like as a husband, like if like I said this on a couple pods. It was like if we go through something crazy, you know what I'm saying? Like we all human, and I get females are not men, but so I allow you to have a moment because it looks shaky. It looks shaky to all of us. So that's allowed, but let's not be fearful. You know what I'm saying? Let's
Yeah.
not doubt. You know what I'm saying? Like let's not have confidence. I mean, let's not have confidence. Like I got you. That's what I relate faith and even the silence of God. Like you said, the more you mature, like I know the person that's silent. So if they silent, it's silent for a
Right.
reason.
And once you learn just the essence of the character of God beyond what he does for us, then when something happens that isn't something you would have ever asked for or planned for, you don't immediately doubt that God cares. You don't immediately doubt God. You don't assume the worst because you know his character. In the same way, it's like if my friend rubbed me the wrong way. If we got years in the game, then I need to be able, if that's really my friend, I need to be able to go, well, before I go and talk, it's revert back to who do I know this person to be?
Yeah.
And because of who I know this person to be, why would I automatically assume that they meant to hurt me?
Yeah.
Why would I automatically assume that they meant to disrespect me? Why would I automatically assume that they just completely disregarded my feelings? You know what I'm saying? If I built a real relationship and one thing goes wrong, then why did I become like, oh my God, just cut off all friends? Like, wait a minute, based on what I know about this person, why am I jumping to the worst case scenario?
Yeah.
And to me, that's the sign of an immature stage of a relationship. You may not necessarily be an immature person, but if your relationship is in an immature or infancy stage, you haven't developed a relationship with the character of that person beyond their actions. Same thing with God.
And you hurt. Sometimes people hurt. And
Yeah.
they see that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, once you scar for a second, you got to, like, as soon as somebody even look like they about to do the same thing,
Listen,
you
yeah.
get a little, you know what I'm saying? But that is true. That is true. Like, if I agree with that, too. But we is podding today. So,
podding
you know
today.
what I'm saying? So, it's a lot
What
going
y'all doing today?
There's a lot going on in the world. I do want to ask a question, like things I would like being left back in 2024. I don't think one of the main things I would love to be left in 2023.
Okay.
I mean, is exposed culture, because a lot of things are getting exposed in this world. Like we not gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? But I just think it's crazy. Even with I think I don't like. Thank you. One thing I don't like, even with the TDJ situation, I don't like how the news came out. Like immediately, I mean, people using this on their TikTok. They people coming, I told you so. They like, and no hard evidence has been, found. So it's like before like, it's so scary that like I don't like I told Keandre like this. I don't believe, like, if God is exposing people, then I'm gonna get out of his way and he expose them. But as soon as, like, we can't believe everything that goes across the airways, and it's like as soon as you heard of TDJ's things, you got it's ridiculous how many people already condemn this man. And it's like we don't even like what if it comes out, like, cause what if it comes out, cause right now no hard evidence that I know of, and it's like we so quick to, like, soon as somebody say anything, it's like exposed culture. At first it was cancel culture, but now it's exposed culture, and it's like it's crazy because, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can't even justify that this man is, or anybody being exposed right now. Now some people it's clear, like even but it's like I'm like, if God is, because trust me,
There's so many words on the tips of tongues around this room. If we y'all could see,
so I wish talk, but don't say nothing that's gonna incriminate you, but talk.
It's one thing. So in the Bible, it does say, "Come from among them." He was at places with questionable people who now he was associated with Puff Daddy, and Puff Daddy had a whole bunch of stuff going on. So at the same time, too, why were you there? Not saying you cannot be there, but you have the risk, and not for the hand of one or the hand of all. You there, you did the crime too. Cause do y'all remember that law, the hand of one, the hand of all?
Guilty by association.
Guilty by association. So you gotta be mindful of the crowd that you are around, especially if you are in influence.
Yeah, you do gotta be mindful. I can't.
If I don't smoke crack, but all my friends smoke crack, you don't think you get just a little bit?
Yeah, that's a crazy analogy. But I mean, that's the truth. But what I'm saying is, like, we condemn before we know. Now I'm not saying like, because if you're looking from the outside, like,
Birds of a feather flock together.
yeah, But yeah, if you look from the outside, some stuff look flaky. But at the same time, I'm not gonna say
If you're looking from the outside, how accurate is your view?
how accurate is it? And it's like that's why I like me personally. I'm smart enough to know, you know what I'm saying. Touch not my anointing, do my prophet no harm. So I'm not condemning nobody until like listen. But it's what I'm saying is I would like to expose culture because how many times have we came out even with the baseball player who got accused of rape and it just came out what in the last year that the woman set him up. But for 2 years, this man lost 130 million, like 130 million. Like for 2 years, we killing this man. You know what I'm saying? And then coming to find out, he was set up. But this man had lost his whole career.
That's why I'm at a place now where when you consider the world we live in, the technological world, the information age that just got put on steroids. We thought we grew up in the information age. Listen, and it's still going. And so I guess I'm sure a lot of it's because I'm a writer and work as a journalist and things like that. I've gotten to my instinct, and I enjoy this about myself, is when people are like, what do you think about such and such? My first response is usually a question. Like, I got more questions. I don't know enough to weigh in so heavily.
And they be,
You know, and then that's what, like,
invested.
right, people be fully, like, to weigh in fully on different things. And I'm at a place now, and this is me and my view, if you, like, are gleefully exposing anyone or anything.
And they happy about it.
That's
too.
what I'm saying. Like, gleefully exposing, from my view, it says more about the one doing the exposing than the one who's been exposed.
Especially when you're
from from my point of view.
Especially when you're happy about it.
You know, some people like, well, they said such and such and this, that, or they got all this to say, you know, and I'm like, in my view,
Yeah.
in more cases than not, it tends to make me see the person doing the exposing in a different way. It says more about them.
It do.
As somebody who's had people try to say stuff about me that wasn't true, I was like, y'all believe what y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like, it says more about them than it does. And I've had to coach people through moments like that. Like, if it's not true, then continue. You know?
Yep.
If it's not true, then continue. If it is, how you feel about it? Do you want to change it? You know, I come with so many questions because I understand the power of context.
I just think it's toxic.
And limited context.
I just think it's toxic. Exposed culture, cancel culture was bad. Exposed culture is filthy. Another toxic thing that I think started out as a good thing, now it's just completely toxic.
What's that?
Is Me Too. Like Me Too is a good thing because it helped women, but it's even with it's turning into even with what's the man name? I don't know if he's guilty now. Like Jonathan Majors. Like that's like I don't know. Like I said, I'm from the outside. I'm talking because like I'm trying to figure out like now some things you got to know. But the only thing that was weird to me was the video of him running. I don't know. Did y'all see the video with him? That's what. And when he did that, that was like he can't get away from that. That's because he put it, because he did put a hand. But like I said, we don't know from the outside looking in. But him, I mean, I'm talking about Marvel snatched that boy so quick.
Yeah.
I'm talking about it was almost as if Marvel had his hand like Marvel snatched that boy because he was being set up to be like he was popping. Like this man, like Marvel Marvel snatched that boy so quick. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, he didn't get it was not guilty for the big thing. Like he got he got one guilty charge. You know, like he said, no, he touched it, but not with the intent to hurt. Yeah. That's what he got accused for. So it's like I think in some way it's so dangerous because it's like it makes men guilty before they even like justified. Like what started out as a good thing is almost a weapon. Now it's like, man, listen, especially like for someone like me, it's not really a threat. But the minute I get any kind of status or something like that, oh my God. It's like, oh my, it's like that's all they got to see. it ain't gotta be. They just gotta say it.
That's the thing. Like, there's no sourcing, there's no fact checking, and you, this social media ecosystem that we live in. This, you can weigh in, and then it's just like, do you want this to be true for the way people? You know what I'm saying? The way people hype stuff. You know what I'm saying? Or I just have a. I don't enjoy the drama. I don't enjoy watching the demise of people. That's why I'm like, if it's true, it's unfortunate. It's usually my response.
Yeah.
I might be like, dang, really? You know, but I don't know. I don't know the truth of anything like that. I don't, and it's not really my business to know. How much is it affecting like my personal life? It's not that I don't necessarily care.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know enough to weigh in as hard as people just want to make it a trending topic.
I'm talking about like as far as just the movement in general, like not no individual.
Like the Me Too movement is canceling masculinity. Is it killing the man?
No, I just think I think it's weapon.
Interesting question.
I think it's weaponized. I think what started out is something with good intentions. Is being weaponized being weaponized at a.
You think it's a sin to destroy power from men?
I don't think it was sent for that. I think it was created out of a good intention. I think it's being weaponized as like.
It's interesting because I think I hear you, and I don't. I'm tracking with you, but I think so in a way I see it independently from the Me Too movement, because and then just like how social media and technology can amplify something that already exists.
Yeah.
Like I know a man who was falsely accused of rape, and he was like locally known, but he's not an influencer. He don't have a ton, you know what I'm saying? But it's still a thing that happens.
Did he get justified?
Yeah, but that stigma still stays.
stick with him.
And that's just in a small local setting. And then if you amplify that up by TikTok, Instagram, Facebook,
Nobody
social
wanna
media.
touch you.
You know, so I think that is a thing of hard to choose your words. You know, but that is a thing that has happened.
Yeah.
You know, to where if there's a lot of different versions of how a thing can play out, but let's say if you got a woman that has been in a situation to where she, like, I could look really bad. I was complicit and consensual up until a point, but now it could look bad, and I'm going to withdraw myself, and I'm going to let him take all the heat to the point of blaming him for this crime. I've seen that happen to someone, and that did not have any social media magnification on it. And so I think that is something that was already happening.
Yeah.
And I think that is a problem. But when you consider the Me Too movement, that's a very real section of the population that's been affected by those things. And how do you hear? It's almost like, well, people just stop lying. Just stop lying, because these women coming out saying Me Too finally feel like they have a community where at least somebody will hear them, because maybe they were silent because they wouldn't be heard. But then for women that this really didn't happen the way you went down, you're just trying to save face. Now you pulling this alarm, ringing this bell on something that wasn't true, and so it makes it harder for, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's just
And it's a sad thing. Because
is.
Like you said about the mental health, it makes it bad for the people that is actually real to.
Yes.
And it's a real thing. Like we all know that
Yeah.
in these power companies that women, like, we know that it's a real thing. So it's like, but when it's weaponized so much, it makes it hard for especially people who's not nationally known. You got a local woman who's being sexually harassed by her CEO or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like it makes it harder. Like, them cases are way harder to fight. Like
Listen,
like especially
when you
that
introduce
kind of
money and power,
that kind of power, like
hard.
them kind of cases. But I'm gonna switch from the toxicity. It is 2024, but we is podding today.
today.
You know what I'm saying?
Rapid fire. Is it rapid fire pod? Let's go. Next topic.
We gonna
Rapid
get-
fire podcast. Let's go.
We're gonna get canceled the first episode.
Let me just okay. We talking about whatever.
But
Then.
no, man, it is 2024, and like you know the
Never
whole.
actively trying to be canceled before we really get off the ground.
We in the.
But we speak the truth
New
according
Year.
to.
That could be a section
But-
later on. We'll talk about it
But even but even as faith meets culture, like look at the environment. You know what I'm saying? Because we all know we were created for a time such as this.
I've
So-
really been thinking about that.
So when you
too.
pause and look at it, and then not even that, we're in America. I'm not talking about the people in Africa. They got their own environment. Like, I'm like, this is where God has stationed us.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so I look at that. I don't get fearful. I'm like, okay, none of this catches you off by surprise. So
Right.
why have you planned it? Because it's crazy. Like America
Now
is
that
the,
we are
America
aligned
is,
in and tuned in because I've been
Amer-
having that same thought of like,
we're the wild wild west. This is the wild wild west.
this is
for
a
real.
time
You know what I'm saying?
in humanity that is pivotal. And you go back in like I love history. You talk to any historian.
Yeah.
You do have those things where they say something like the one phrase that people say is like history may not repeat itself, but it may rhyme. You know, you get those moments
Yeah.
and we first of all, just a millennial check-in. How y'all knees doing? I tried to walk it out yesterday. How we millennial check-in? But for
Not walking out.
I tried to-
But we didn't talk about that.
I was walking out, came on, and instinctively you go. I was like, oh my. So fitness go,
Hey.
but no.
Little crack.
But those of us who were born, you know, in the 80s, early 90s, we have seen so much. But then when you think about that, like you think about what we've seen in my lifetime, like just the pandemic alone and all this stuff, and the political state right now, and just all the social media. We remember when it wasn't. We drank out of water hoses and flipped through yellow pages. You know, like all of those that we were there for the birth of social media. You know, it's interesting to see that, but then, you know, we talk about that, but let's be fair when we isolate the millennial generation, because it's still a lot. But and also we have been, for whatever God said. Okay, 83, Audrey, you up for the earth. They called you. Okay, so that, but then we think about that. Well, my mom, my parents have lived through everything I lived through, plus Jim Crow South. You know what I'm saying? Plus segregated schools.
And
Plus, my mom has integrated her workforces.
and that was the era that God put them in. Like God put them
and
dropped
that
them right in
plus
Jim Crow.
tagged on everything that we're living through now. Is, you know, it's interesting. I do think a lot about that. Like, Lord, this is where you dropped me off to be in this time. Everything that we're living through now is, you know, is interesting. I do think a lot about that. Like, Lord, this is where you dropped me off to be in this time.
And he told me to be a believer in the
So-
wild wild west.
Wow.
And it's like you
Wow,
don't run from it. You don't be fearful.
No, you're
it's
not
like,
fearful, but you do want wisdom.
yeah, and it's like I ask all the time, like, okay, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? So 'cause everything has changed. The landscape, even church is like we have online members
Swag
now.
surfing.
On,
They
Oh, I didn't even talk about the swag. How y'all feel about the Will Murphy swag surfing, man? Look, we just go, huh?
It's
I mean,
how
be
long
honest,
is the
I wanna
clip
know how y'all
versus how
feel.
long is the service?
It was a 2 year service.
How did you? I mean, it was a whole service. That was the.
To
I
be
think
fair-
I think that was
He was
intro.
telling people to walk it out.
It's see,
Out of there.
and,
How y'all feel
also speaking of walking out, millennial check-in. How y'all need?
How y'all feel about William Murphy swag surfing, man? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Church.
At the beginning as the intro.
Because the Saints ain't having it.
I wouldn't have put the words on there. I wouldn't have put like they had. Like, but like,
Get naughty, exotic.
but we'll come back to that. We'll come back
Okay.
to that. We'll come back to that. But we
Pondered that.
but I look at the landscape of the Wild Wild West, because I do want to ask you about that, but I forgot about that. You brought it up, so you started this. But we in the Wild Wild West. This is faith meets culture, and I ask myself all the time, like, how do you like how do you be light in this situation? I mean, of course, and it's like one of the Bible scriptures that Holy Spirit keep dropping in my, behold, I do a new thing. Don't you perceive it? You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying like there's like I'm not necessarily talking about swag surfing. You know what I'm saying? As far as new thing, but I think with every generation, God has new ways of doing whatever He does. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think we can be so stuck in what we like how we've been doing it, because we never had online church. You got members that's only members online now. That's never even been possible. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that whole come in a building on Sunday thing. It's just like brick and mortar stores. It's like everybody used to have to go to the store to shop, but now we got permanent online members, people who join online. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like with this whole new landscape, with this whole new we in 2024. We I'm not even saying new you. I'm saying better you. It's like, how do we equip ourselves to be light? How do we be light in the wild, wild west? You know what I'm saying? Strategically. You know what I'm saying? Like, do we I mean, I don't wanna try to copy nothing. I don't wanna try to copy culture to try to fit in. I wanna make culture. You know what I'm saying? I wanna create we'll bring culture. That's what we do, you know what I'm saying? Culture of the kingdom. But I mean, what's y'all thoughts on that? How y'all feel about
I got something real quick.
being
I'm
being
gonna go deep.
being stationed in the wild west?
Splash in a puddle.
Okay.
How you be light in the world that we live in now? It just comes from it. This Bible verse comes to me is Timothy, I think 2:2 or Timothy 2:2. Study to show thyself approved.
2:15. 2 Timothy 2:15.
Yeah, 2:15. To study thyself approved. And with that, in everything that we do, make sure that we have the word in us wherever we go at. That's how we be light. So make sure that, like you were saying, don't lose our language. Yeah, we are saved in God, but wherever we go, we cannot lose our language, how we talk to these people. And yet, they're going to respect us because our life has changed, but still, they're going to be curious about our lifestyle.
Yeah, I actually taught a Sunday school lesson, Bible study on that, talking about. Okay, well, let's go deep in on that same thing. So I taught a lesson, and really, when you do get these assignments, so first I would say to be like, no, get with God about what He called you to do, where He called you to do it, what is your territory, what have you been assigned to, and one of the things that I'm good. One of the things that I had to kind of come to grips with is everything that I see and everything that I even care about is not my assignment. So Lord, if you brought this before my ears, my eyes, whatever, is it my assignment? And teach me how to respond to what I care about. Because everything does not warrant my response.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
that's fact.
and if I respond in the wrong, I bought it for that. No, if I respond in the wrong arena, then what might be light in for this place may not necessarily translate into light somewhere else. Like you have to know where you're assigned to be. But when it comes to language, one of the things I talked about that when God says, go into all the world to preach the gospel. So we do, I still believe God needs His people wherever any people are. And you're going to have to know how to navigate different worlds, and everybody not called to the same world. So you may got to be careful being judgmental about people like, well, then they say they love God. Why they doing that? You do not know where God has called these people to be. I know I have gotten some unique assignments from God that have made people kind of side-eye. I'm like, I get that stuff. But one of the things I was talking about when Keandra was saying about language, I was like, so basically, I taught the teaching I was in a series about what it means to be an ambassador. And so in global politics, if you are an ambassador, like if I'm an American and an ambassador to France, there are some basic things that have to be true. First of all, I have to be well versed in the country I represent, which is America. I have to know the policies, the language, the government. I have to know that. I also have to be fluent in the language that is spoken in this other country. And so to your point, it's just like, if you're hanging out with people and we'll just make it like a financial arena. You have it there. You need to know how to speak the language of finance.
Right.
Yeah, you do.
But also, and even if it's just your family, anything, when God, one of the first things when you really get a relationship with God and get into the Word, one thing that will be impacted is your language. And the way I described it was, if you're an ambassador, you representing God, and wherever He told you to go, He got different places that He calls people to go to. But one of the things that you will notice is there will likely be an accent on the language that you speak when you are assigned somewhere from your home base.
Yeah.
So if I'm an ambassador to France, it's going to be assumed that I speak fluent French, but there's still likely going to be an accent on the French that I speak.
Yeah.
And that accent will reveal my origin country.
I see what you're saying.
And so, for example, where you got Paul, it's just like, yeah, we press down on every side, we shaking, but yeah, but not destroyed. That not destroyed is the accent part. It's like, no, I'm going through the same thing you're going through. Yeah, it's rough over here too, but we believe God.
But you're going through
and
it.
so there's always we're gonna say the same thing because God will allow, like again, in that ambassador analogy, like if I'm an ambassador to China, and I'm an American, I have what's called diplomatic immunity. In my house, the laws of America rule in my house.
Yeah.
Even though I'm living in China under a different rule, but because I have diplomatic immunity, so I may be assigned to a place from the kingdom standpoint, the rules of the kingdom prevail over where I live, so I'm unaffected. Now, if it rains in China and I'm in China, guess who's getting wet? Me. I'm not unaffected, but it doesn't change the laws that govern the life that I live because I have kingdom citizenship status. And so a little bit.
Hey, no, that's a whole.
But that is how you be light. That is how you move strategically as an ambassador of the kingdom within your assignment. You need to know the language of your word. You drop me off in a retail setting, I can speak that language.
Right.
Yeah.
I can speak that language. Listen, yeah, we done. We on the diving board now. Listen, life jackets, and so you might have somebody come to me and like, dude, the inflation crazy. Like, why does a loaf of bread cost so much? Dang, why internet cost? Like, when I first signed up for internet, it was $50 a month. Why is it $120? What happened? And if somebody may come to us, and guess what? We all feeling it.
Right.
But the Lord still provides for me over here.
Come on.
I still live without lack over here. The Lord is still my shepherd. I still shall not want over here. So the environmental conditions are the same, but when I get to turn my light on, I get to say how my God is sustaining me through these same conditions.
Okay.
That's how I'm light.
Put a cash app on there.
Go ahead, go and start shouting. Get your praise dance on. No, I'm a build up. Build up that puddle. I think.
Oh, we in the deep end now. You in a life jacket.
What I get from that puddle is that because cause that's Kingdom Principle 101, what you just laid down. So I look at it from a military perspective. Let go of the need to be understood all the time.
Oh my God, yes.
And I say that because now I might get the colors wrong, but Green Beret. Those are the people that go in. I believe it's Green Beret. I believe it's green. But if I'm wrong, I will definitely correct it. But either way, in the military, it's certain groups that go in, and they do missions that only probably about 3 people know about. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that what you're doing shouldn't align with the word of God, but what you're doing, everybody not going to understand.
Not going to understand.
Sometimes some missions are very unique. Like you look at a Toby Nwigwe, and it's like,
yeah, that's a good example.
I see kingdom.
Absolutely, from day one.
I see kingdom, but like the way he did it, the way he speaks, the way he moves, a lot of people, you know what I'm saying?
Let me just say this real quick. I'm sorry. It
You know what I'm
is.
saying? 'Cause
And while we say bringing up Toby, we cannot bring up Toby in the year of our Lord 2024 and not talk about Linnell Grant.
Hold up.
She was with him, his percussionist, but she got she dropped that album. I dropped it for like I put it in a magazine for like Black History Music.
I know his
something like
I
that.
know
But
his
she
producer.
women produce first of all, but she representing the kingdom with this hip hop and the quality of the lyrics and the sound and the production and the stage presence. Oh my God!
I gotta check out.
So like you brought up Toby, and Toby is that Fi.
Yeah.
But Linnell Grant, shout out to you. Women
Okay.
produce. I rock with you, girl.
I mean, like you can't like I'm not like you can't. Everybody not gonna understand it. Even people in the kingdom.
Here, if we be honest, I don't always understand what God be telling me to do. I hear it just like y'all sometimes. I'm like, this sound crazy.
They do.
But he did tell me, and I did hear it. But this is crazy. And if he had told you and didn't tell me, I'd be like, girl, you crazy. Like, so if we could be honest, that even the crazy instructions he gives us that don't make sense to us sometimes either. Then that's where our faith is tested.
Right.
And that's just like, well,
Noah Dern should look crazy building the ark.
He did. But
ain't nobody ever seen no rain's about to rain. What is rain?
What is right?
why is it so surprising? Like, when has God ever played by the rules?
If I can quote my pastor, Eric Jackson, he said, if it makes sense, it might not be God.
That's what I'm saying.
He said, if it makes too much sense,
When has God ever played by the rules? I mean, of course he made the rules, but what I'm saying is, when has God ever played by social norms? Everything we read about is like it's anti-norm.
God is such a disruptor.
know what I'm saying?
He is such a disruptor.
He's the best storyteller. If you really look at the Bible, you really look at like he's the best storyteller. Even in movies, like movies take that same format. You take the one that nobody knows. You take the worst of the worst. You take the murderer, and you make that person the hero.
Right.
All through your Bible. You know what I'm saying? The worst of the worst.
the heroes.
Like we look at we look at the dynamic 12. You know what I'm saying? Of course they grew up, but they started out as teenagers. Like those were like
Yeah.
they were teenagers. You know what I'm saying? The people that flipped the world upside down at first were teenagers. You know what I'm saying? That's why they were looked at as you know, as less than. They were talking to esteemed preach.
And then you gotta remember too, like what Jesus had 33 years on the planet, and people, the lifespan at that time, people were living to be like hundreds of years old. So even just the whole lifespan, the whole humanity span of Jesus is still just a young man anyway.
He was very young. He was, and
You know.
33, and make somebody he started preaching at 30. Yo, you imagine a 30-year-old. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's happening now, but still, like these one, like everything about God. I don't know why. It's like the Bible is a great. It's one of the greatest tools to hear to hear from God. To learn. I love about. Hear me when I'm saying it. The Bible cripples a lot. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying the Bible. I'm just saying like. Listen what I'm saying. It's like we so like you gotta have a relationship because the Bible is a door. The Bible is a door. It's an invitation to relationship because there is what God has said and there is what God is saying. Now it will always align to that.
Yes.
Like, I'm not saying it's not going to align to the word, but
Right,
what I'm
right,
saying, a Bible without relationship is just a book.
It is true. Like, and that's why you have to be very careful. That's one thing I used to. It makes my soul hurt a little bit every time I see someone who I really believe loves and have a relationship with God, but they have not been great students of the word, and they might they get into like an argument with somebody who is not a believer but has studied the Bible as literature. I'm like, they're gonna run circles around you. They're gonna run circles around you. Like, so you got to go back. You got to study to show yourself approved. But also, once you get in a relationship, you do see the words, like when it says that the word is alive and quick and sharp. It's a living document. That's why you can read the same scripture and get a new revelation for where you are at the moment. That's why you can. I've had those moments where it was conversational. I would have a question. I'm like, well, God, what you mean by such and such? And I would keep reading. I'm like, oh, that's what you meant. Okay, you know. And then he'll tell me to another. I'm like, and it really, it's alive. But it's what happens is we want to pull God into our limited understanding.
Yeah.
And that can be dangerous because we don't leave room for what we don't know, and his thoughts are not. And not saying that they can't be, not saying that he won't invite you into his thoughts, but to think that you could ever have God fully figured out would be to diminish him. If you could fully figure God out, then you would be God.
Yeah. And that's what unintentionally I think people do that.
Yeah.
I think like we like unintentionally like something
I do
like
think
it makes people think we understand God, and it's like that'll never be the case. He clearly said, "My ways are not your ways." You know what I'm saying? They're far apart, and he made a clear distinction. Like, I'm gonna say this, but I'm gonna make it clear. It's our thoughts are as far apart. So whatever your best thought, you're not even close.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you trying to figure out what God doing, just don't even try to figure out. Just don't even. You know what I'm saying? Just wait on the answer. But I think that's.
And I think another thing, this might be slightly off, that and I can recognize it because it's something that happens when you are called to preach or teach. You do have to. You got to get relationship, and that thing got to go. And God don't run out. Like the deep end don't. It is vast, so you're never gonna. So you got to stay in that intimacy with God. But when you are charged to be a messenger for Him or to teach His word to His people and things like that, you do have to develop your ear through relationship with God to understand, is this word for me or is it for the people? And I'm not saying stuck, but I've had to sit in that moment with some things that God has told me. Like, is this for me personally or is this for the people? And one thing I think that's happening, especially with social media, is like they'll get a word from God that is just for them, but then they'll post it and make it, and they completely just push it onto other people. It's just like, they might have been just for you.
Yeah, I think.
And now, but then almost like you want to present as yourself as an authority on that word when it was just given to you. So you should probably just sit with it for a while and studying God. Crack this thing open for me. What is it really saying? Because it hits you like your spirit does leap with it, identifies like, ooh, that was good. Yes. And then people go from, ooh, that was good. Ooh, it's a good Facebook post.
Right.
And they don't take a minute and sit like, it's almost like somebody bring you out a really good meal. Like, oh my, that buffet looks amazing. And you still haven't sat down and tasted and had a meal yourself yet.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, oh, let's cater. Wait, what? Just because you like smell something a little bit or taste it, it's an interesting thing. And so, but I know firsthand what that place is like when you get a word like, wow, that's really good. And people would respond. People just from a humanity standpoint, people would agree that that's good. It's good rhetoric, but it's also the word. But you think you could get likes now or get shares off of it. But guys, that's just for you. And if you don't eat on it and take on that yourself, you're going to easily find yourself into self-righteousness and then into condemnation. And God said, I ain't sent my son for all of that. And you just got to be really, really careful and keen. And in relationship, you do develop an ear. You do get used to what God is saying to just you, or especially if you have a public ministry gift like teaching or preaching or ministering the word to people. You do have to spend time with God to discern the difference between what is for the masses and what is for you alone. But I think people a lot of times getting really good words that are for them and they could really be edifying to that individual person, but they immediately transfer onto social media and they dilute it.
Everything is for everybody.
Because they want the feedback immediately. But I'm like, that feedback you get from the Holy Spirit, I promise it outweighs any like or follow, I promise. And so that makes me, as just somebody, I'm so like protective of
you gotta
God's
be patient.
word.
You gotta be patient with that.
And I don't like to see his word be mishandled. I'm careful too. I don't want to mishandle it, but sometimes you can just see like this is obvious. Mishandle.
I don't want to. And even if I do, like I said in the podcast, they call me. Okay, you slipped up. You said this, but it's really that. Now I'm gonna look it up myself. But okay, you're right. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no problem with that. But I was saying I do got a good. I think something good from exposed culture. Here's one good thing that I think is good, and the fact is this, because even with the thing with TD Jakes, which I don't got no fight in there. But the thing is, I think it should show people that regardless, you should have to know God. You know God for yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's not TD Jake's job. It's not your pastor job. I think that should at least wake up people to say, because like I said, everybody's a TikTok preacher. We got millions of TikTok preachers. We got millions of Facebook ministers, and it's like, don't get all your theology from. Now I'm not saying I got my people I like too, but don't get all your theology from other people. Like we can communicate, but make sure you know God for yourself. Like even with you, like, okay, I know you. I mean, I know you as a person. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody can come even before we started podding. You know what I'm saying? I'm the type of person, I don't gossip. I'm a lot of things, but I was never been a gossip. But even if somebody would have came and told me something about you before I knew you like that, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have. Like, I don't know you like that because when I was in the room, she seemed like a cool person. So I'm gonna get to know her for myself. Right. Yeah. And then I'll make my own judgment, because if you don't know God for yourself and you listen to all these Facebook, TikTok preachers, they can be saying something totally left wall. It's like, don't nobody know God, but it's like when you know a person, it's like when somebody starts talking about them, you can just like, nah, you don't really know that person. You don't really know that person, do you?
When you know somebody and God is included in that, when you know God really, you can kind of tell when people who are talking about him don't know him. Now I'm saying don't know him like you know him as well, but just like, oh, you haven't. That's a very surface knowledge. Yeah.
You know
him like you know him like you know these people on social media.
Somebody said something like, make sure. Now this ain't mine, but somebody said, I think it was Eric Thomas. Make sure in 2024 that you talk to. No, it was Stephanie Ike. Make sure you talk to God more than you talk about God. You know what I'm saying? Because even with this, make sure you talk to God, babe, get your coffee. Get your coffee. Make sure you I ain't got time to be paying no couch bills.
It's leather, wipe right off.
Okay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But no, like make
I have
sure
to bring Milo Camo at some point because he didn't get a lot of airtime on this
in
pod.
2024, let's make sure you talk to God more. I mean, yeah, talk to God more than you talk about God. You know what I'm saying? Let's get back to the basics.
Yeah.
And one thing,
And talking, the same, you could take that to like a person. Like talking to them will inform how you talk about them.
wow, that's good.
I ain't lying, cause you can't be believing, like, bro. It's like in sports culture, that's even real on a local level. Like, I know for a fact I done had people, you know what I'm saying, think I'm a certain way because of what they heard about me, and it's also free marketing because when they get around me, they obviously see, oh, you really not like that. You're really cool, but what I've heard from you is totally opposite. You know what I'm saying? Cause you got haters, and so it's like somebody right now could be spewing a narrative about you. And it's like, yeah, get to know the person before you make a judgment about them.
He's so distracting. He's
Hey.
coming to warning. He's extremely lovable. Milo's extremely.
But I mean,
But yeah, like you just live a real life and not a digital only life.
Right.
tap back in. But
Develop real relationships and start with God and then yourself
Right.
and then work out from there.
before,
I don't know. I'm just talking.
but-
Milo got me distracted.
okay, we pretty much at the end now. But before we do end the podcast, like, well, how did y'all feel about the swag surfing? You know what I'm saying? Like real quick. Ain't gotta be 30 seconds.
Swag circle.
Was you okay with it or nah? That's all I need. You ain't gotta go deep.
2000 Keandre, yeah.
Was you okay with it or nah?
I really didn't care.
So you don't care. So you good.
Here's the thing. I knew that other people would care.
Yeah.
And so my thing wasn't, I didn't immediately go and be like, oh my God, Bishop Murphy done left the Lord. No, oh my goodness. My mind does not didn't go, like,
It was a bad choice of
no,
interest.
but I was like, oh, some saints gonna have something to say. That was my initial response. I didn't really, because it was in one of my group chats, and one of my homegirls was like, I would have been swag surfing right there with him. So people like, oh my, and it was like, really, what do you think? And I'm at a place now where I really like, the clip with somebody asked Whitney, I love Nippy. Shout out to Whitney Houston. I miss her. But when they asked her, like, so what do you think about such and such? She's like, I don't think about her. I'm really kind of getting more into that place in life. Like, so Audrey, what do you think? That's probably not great for a podcast as I sit here and say that. But but they're like, well, what did you think about? I'm like, I ain't really, I understand context too much.
Yeah.
That clip was how long compared to the length of the service?
Yeah.
So show me the whole service. Now I do. Now what I will say outside of that specific, like that's like a case study in a larger context of, I do think that there should be a mindfulness in
That's what
how something could be perceived.
That's what I
You
think.
don't want your good to be ill spoken of.
Yeah,
And then it's like sometimes you gotta weigh the risk. It's like this could be a risky move. But does it and here's the thing, when you get into those unique assignments, and I think God is really gonna come out the gate with a lot of unique assignments. And it's just like, is it worth the people who might be offended for the people that it might inspire and introduce to God? And those are assignments those are tough things that believers that God's called are grappling with, especially if you have a public platform. But I'll tell you this, I don't want to bring up old, but listen, we potting today and we at the end. Like, I had so much more problem with Pastor Mike Todd hawk spitting on that man's face than I did with that swag surfing.
Yeah, that was.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like,
When did that happen? Was that 2022 or 2023?
no.
That was horrible. I ain't gonna.
You know, so and not to stay on that and not to like relive that, but I'm like,
No.
it's certain. I think when it comes to social media, and I really do want to change the way that I take it in, because I don't want to have that
That's
much
crazy.
like pull over how I feel, and so what I have noticed with me is I don't necessarily have a whole lot of strong opinion because the context is usually so small, but I tend to lean into whether something resonates with me or not.
Yeah.
And then I think about myself. I'm like, if I were in that public platform, Like, how easy is it to be misunderstood? You know, we got a podcast. People can easily clip something out and say and spin something like that. So, like, that could be you one day.
What's gonna happen? Nigga, you get.
Yeah.
They gonna clip something.
And so I think what I tend to lean more into is how something resonates with me. And I tend to, like, almost subconsciously put myself in, like, not that, and I'm not knocking anybody else because people got different things. And it's certain preachers out there. It's one particular, I won't say who it is, but really popular on social media. And I like some of the stuff he says, but sometimes this stuff is just like, dude, like, where you come across is a certain way that I don't. But I'm like, you know what though? He could be really reaching people who that resonates. So, like, be careful. Like, when it's your turn, just don't move like that. Yeah. You know, or don't say it like that. But don't discount the people who really respond to that tone. Yeah. It doesn't resonate with me, and I can't see myself doing it, you know. And so even when it goes down to, like, the whole Cat Williams thing, which we won't wrap up with that. But the big thing with that was I haven't watched the whole interview. I've seen it in clips, and I'm not here to weigh in on whether it was true or not because I don't know. But what I will say is there was some, like, the tone of certain things don't resonate with me. It came across a certain way. It's just like
Cat Williams broke the entire internet.
Yeah, and then but also when you consider okay, marketing this, I'm like, you know, I love stand-up comedians. I've studied that industry and how they move, and it seems like there is a code in that industry that he kind of seems on the outside of, you know. But also, like, I've been in situations where I could have exposed certain people for certain things, and I'm just like, I chose not to, and I like what that said about me. Like, I know the truth, and it doesn't change. Like, what does it change to make these many people know? Do I need more people on my side? And if somebody asks, not like, so again, I'm not here to say, because a lot of people have a lot of different opinions about it, and I haven't watched the whole thing, and I do understand context. But what I do realize, and to me, it kind of goes back to the same thing with the Will Smith Chris Rock slap. I was like, I know I would never have done that, and I had such a respect for Chris Rock because it resonates with me. Self-control is really attractive to me. And so in one of those situations, one looked like a complete absence of self-control, and one was like the epitome of it. You know what I'm saying? And certain things resonate with me. Yeah. But if something else completely contrary was like, oh, I would have did the same thing, I was like, well, do you, boo? It doesn't resonate with me. And so I've gotten better about not internalizing. And I'm like, I don't care enough about these things that don't affect my day-to-day life to weigh in as heavily as I've seen some be like, you know, going, and to the point they in arguments online about, like, this stuff. Is like, all this could be a show. Right. As far as we know. You know,
it's definitely,
and so
emotion.
You know, and so even with certain things, like, so the swag surf thing, I'm like, I like a good party, but I have a robust social life outside of church, so I wouldn't necessarily go to church looking for that. Yeah. But I done been to some lit watch night services before. You know what I'm saying? I've been to some party-like settings, so it doesn't necessarily bother me, but I do think sometimes when it gets into what was the scripture? Like, basically, like, you got to be set apart. Like, even if your cause this thing, there has to be a distinction. Yeah. I do sometimes, from a larger perspective, when I see certain things happening, it's like, is this damaging to what I know to be the truth of God's word? Yeah. I'm always looking at the bigger picture. I'm like, it's like a risk assessment. Like, okay, we might have lost some people, but who do we gain? Is that worth it? Because sometimes, and those are tough leadership position decisions. I just think and so I just don't know enough. But also, but then it goes back to, like, I have personally met Bishop William Murphy. I've seen him in some dope secular, like, lounge settings covering, dope songs like that. I know that he is truly a musician. Yeah. I've seen him preach. I know some of the people who have come under his ministry, and this has been years. And so there's nothing about me that has any negative thought towards him. Yeah. And it's just like, I don't know how you come to the decision, but I will say I was at a show in Atlanta where we was at this dope lounge spot, and they were all there, and he covered Alicia Keys' Unbreakable, and it was just a dope, you know what I'm saying? So I just think it was, you know what I'm saying? So for me, I got the questions, but I, again, go to what is the character I've seen from this person in the time that I've been exposed to them, especially because I had the fortune of being exposed outside of a social media space that's not so amplified. Right. And so, but also I do understand that some people are really, really bothered by that. they
I bothered by
it's they feel like it's almost like sacrilegious or there's a sanctity that's been disturbed. And I don't disagree. I mean, I say I don't disagree. I don't discount how those people feel in those moments. But then you got a whole new generation of people coming up. It's just like they won't even hear it. So I just. Was it the best situation for that place in that
Watch your
time?
cup,
If it
Lil.
was, great, you know.
Yeah, I don't-
And if it was in that specific place at that time, social media is out there now, and people gonna have stuff out there, but it doesn't. Social media does not speak to the atmospheric conditions in that room,
Yeah, I don't.
you know. So I just got too many questions, and all that to say, it's a lot of words to say. I honestly don't care.
Don't care. I'm the same way. I just think it was a bad choice of his timing. It's like, okay, I don't got a problem with the song because when half the people when half the people leave the church, they're gonna turn on
Now-
trap and all that.
Now,
but-
what I will say, and he's in Atlanta.
Yeah,
You
so-
know, so shout out to trap
I
music.
just think
And
it
how
was
can we
a
talk about how
bad-
T.I. just did the whole thing with the orchestra? Shout out to the godfather of trap music. But what I will
he
say
did his thing, he
is,
did his thing.
and if I were like, because I sometimes I kind of, I say like with Royal Ink, I live at the intersection of artist and consumer.
Yeah.
So you do have to consider, is this true to what the artist wants to do? But also you do have to consider how you'll be received.
Yeah.
If I was doing like a post analysis, Swag Surf is an extremely popular song. Could you have played the instrumental and gotten the same effect?
That's what I said.
If maybe the lyrics were a problem within that space that is considered sacred by so
Yeah.
many. So those are the questions I would ask
I
to
just
try
think
to mitigate, problems in the
it
future.
looked like a random decision. It's like you know how you get
possible.
you know how you get in your head. Oh, this would be fire. We're gonna do this, and it's like, hey y'all got this, whatever. It just seemed like as far as like the song, like, cause I live in a way I don't like live authentic. Now, it is a place at a time. You know what I'm saying? But like I would have did the same thing. I would have took the words out. I wouldn't have played all the words. But then I said we don't know how long they played it. But it was certain words on the clip that I was like, okay.
know?
But at the same time, I was like,
For a song that recognizable, just drop the instrumental.
yeah, it's like bad timing.
But that's just like from a
Like
you want some PR
Like
response, a PR response.
I would have been like, not here, fam. I'd have been like this.
Turn off the cameras.
That's it. I'm gonna just end on that because I don't really care neither. I mean, for the sample, I get how people feel about it, and I understand that way. I wouldn't have put the words in it, but I think it was a bad, just like wrong time, brother. That's it. Like this more of a conference.
But then
thing.
did y'all see the follow-up post where they were like, was it 120, 150 souls were saved that day?
Yeah, he was
Came to
saying.
God?
Yeah, he said.
So-
he said 120 people came that
20
night.
people? Okay. Heaven's
That's
rejoicing.
a whole other rabbit hole. That's a puddle you started.
But we're gonna go ahead and chop
I
it
mean,
up.
if we're gonna bring it up, let's bring up the last thing he said about it.
Who that?
If Bishop Murphy put out that,
Bishop said he had 120
all right,
people
then
got.
let's
saved.
end it with that included.
Okay. Yeah. Bishop said he got 120 people got saved.
120.
Amen.
I don't
People say they don't
me like I said, I just think it was bad timing. I mean, yeah, I just had to chime in on the conversation.
Who amongst us has not swag surfed? He who has not swag surfed, you cast the no.
It ain't that big. Yeah,
They're gonna be like, "What are you doing in the church?" Well,
ain't
maybe not.
It ain't that big a deal. Cause like I'm not gonna say Bishop he the devil for it. I mean,
There's some quiets, but out here swag surfing with the moves. Just been a different song.
yeah, I'm not
How
gonna
many times them pastors be saying what?
I'm not gonna say he a false like, none of that. It ain't that deep, but it's just a funny conversation. Like it really like it ain't anybody who making it deep is like weird, but it ain't that deep. It's just it's funny though. But William Murphy did get he said he got 100. He said a lot of people talking crazy. And then he got clowned for that because like you can't win on the internet. I don't argue with the internet.
No, don't argue with the internet.
Because like as soon as he said that, now they clowning him. Now they getting on him for that. It's like don't argue with the internet.
Silence cannot be misquoted.
If you authentic, do not argue. If what you're doing is in an authentic place, you will not win against the internet. You do not argue with the internet, no matter how logical your point is. You know what I'm saying? They've already chosen to believe what they're gonna believe. So just let the internet.
And then like I argue like you'll win on your turf, so win in real life.
Just be
win in
truthful.
real life.
Be real. Like as long as you real, as long as what you're doing is real, like come on, you winning. Because the internet, like as soon as you log off, the internet is
And they're gonna be on to the next scroll cycle.
So it's like we got
Final thoughts. Dave Chappelle got a new stand up out that I'm about to watch. Also, speaking of stand up,
Yeah, David Chappelle do got
support locals. I went out. I'm in Savannah, Georgia, and I saw two great stand up comedians. It was last minute. You know, I would have hit you up to come with me, but it was last minute. Eric Bailey, who I've seen a couple of times. You came with me to see him at the show downtown, but he did a theater show. So definitely check out Eric Bailey. But he put the show together and brought in some other comics. I missed the first comic. The band was great. I don't want to mispronounce the JD music. I don't know. I don't want to mispronounce the band. I'll post it. But Eric Bailey was great. I really enjoyed Alicia Bridges. Girl out of Atlanta, I think. But yeah, she was dope. And while he's talking about, you know, with the Cat Williams and all the comedians are talking, you know, I'm like, I love the art craft, the art form that is stand-up comedy, and local comics. Like, everybody started in that environment, that local setting. You're gonna bomb. You don't know. It's a different audience every day, and to see those people, that's not an easy profession. No. It is just, it's not. I don't think they get the credit they deserve as writers. Essentially, they're doing a one-man show, and there's a certain part of you, if you have a performance career, whether it's stand-up comedy, whether it's podcasting, whether it's writing, whatever you do, there is an element that you have to practice in public. And I don't know any profession that has to just be on the front line of that more than stand-up comedy. And so, you know, are they the best? No, but nobody started out as the best. Right. But did they give good, solid shows? I thought so. And I got my eyes on them. And yeah, I support the locals, man. But Eric Bailey and Alicia Bridges.
Ellen Bailey, Alicia Bridges, shout out to them.
Eric
Bailey. What I said?
Ellen or something. I don't know.
That's just my southern lingo.
Eric Bailey.
Eric Bailey.
Yeah, he's dope comedian. Rising's only been doing it for a few years. I'm not sure how long Alicia Bridges has been doing it, but I think she gave a really great, solid set. Yeah, and I support those guys. You know, so while we talking about comedy, let's just remember the locals.
Shout out to the